What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this, we have India obliterates U.S. tariffs with 100 billion with a B dollar deal. Before we dive in, if you guys happen to enjoy, please don't forget to subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up. Also, like support the channel by becoming a member. All you gotta do is hit that join button to receive your exclusive benefits. Let's get right to this.
India's landmark trade agreement with the European Free Trade Association nations has officially come into effect. And with this, the promise of a $100 billion investment into India, which could offset any impact of Trump's unfair tariffs on Bharat. With this, history has also been made. This is India's first ever major trade partnership with the European bloc, and this includes Switzerland, Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Norway. These countries are not members of the European Union but have committed to invest over $100 billion over the next 15 years in India, which could create about 1 million jobs in the country. But how exactly will this benefit India? Which industries and which sectors will gain? And are India and US also drawing closer to a trade deal? We'll get you all the details. The official announcement of the EFTA India TEPA was celebrated at a high-profile event in New Delhi led by Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal, along with top EFTA representatives. Piyush Goyal wrote on X, "This will unlock new opportunities for trade, investment, and job creation, benefiting our people and businesses. Look forward to working together to further strengthen economic ties for shared prosperity," unquote. Another mega India-EU free trade agreement is also in the final stages of agreement, which would be another setback for Trump's anti-India policies. The world backs India's rise, even though a US president is now seeking praise from a terror state like Pakistan, which hid bin Laden and provided a safe haven for all his terror network's top leadership after 9/11. Just is now seeking praise from a terror state like Pakistan, which hid bin Laden and provided a safe haven for all his terror network's top leadership after 9/11.
Which is
Just
crazy.
how far has the US policy fallen?
Why would I just praising Pakistan is just it's ridiculous. This is just absolutely did he actually praise this? I wish I could explain what's going on over here, but I'm just as confused as the rest of the world.
Even today, Pakistani military leaders are seen attending funerals of members of UN-designated terror outfits. But back to the India-EFTA trade deal. Now, India and EFTA represent a GDP of about $5.4 trillion combined. This deal stands out not only for its scale, but also for its strategic value. Among the EFTA nations, Switzerland trades the most with India. Last year, India-EFTA trade touched $32 billion, out of which $18 billion was only India's gold imports from Switzerland. A member of the Swiss Federation Council, Guy Parmelin, also stated on X, "Today marks the entry into force of the Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement, or TEPA, between EFTA and India. I look forward to working together with my dear colleague Piyush Goyal to develop new opportunities for the Swiss and Indian economies," unquote. The EFTA states are known globally for their strength in merchandise and services trade, and this partnership aims to deepen connections in areas such as manufacturing, clean energy technologies, and services by encouraging co-production, predictable movement of professionals, and mutual recognition of qualifications.
I
India's
feel
top
like this deal is absolutely going to be beneficial to both. I think this European Union that's making it with them, and India. And I think it just goes to show, like, it feels like so much of the world is now starting to work together more. And I feel like India's played a big part in that, in making deals and trade with so many different countries, and they're just kind of stepping on the stage of, like, India, it feels like, wants to be able to cooperate with everybody, but India's not coming to the table as someone who's above you or someone who's below you. If we're gonna be in trade talks, we're gonna talk like we're equals. And so I absolutely love it.
Commerce Minister also emphasized the timing of this deal coming into force on Navami, coinciding with Vijay Dashmi, a symbol of prosperity and clarity. Piyush Goyal described it as the power of five. India for scale, demand, and skilled talent. Switzerland for finance, precision manufacturing, and capital goods. Norway for maritime expertise and clean energy. Iceland for clean tech and digital ingenuity, and Liechtenstein for high value manufacturing and engineering. The TEPA agreement is comprehensive, covering 14 chapters that handle issues ranging from general trade rules, investments, tariffs, and intellectual property
Hey,
to sustainable development, dispute resolution, and government procurement. Tariff liberalization is a standout feature. The EFTA nations will offer concessional rates on 92.2% of its tariff lines for Indian exports, with almost complete access for non-agricultural and processed agricultural products. India will reciprocate on 82.7% of tariff lines for EFTA exports to India, though there are key exceptions such as gold. Market access, which will help Indian goods get easier entry into other countries by cutting taxes and simplifying rules. Through investment boost, India will attract stable FDIs. For instance, India-Australia ECTA had led to a 25% surge in FDI inflows into India. Agriculture gains, new export markets for farmers. Technology transfer will help access advanced technology. SME support will help boost wider global value chain integration. And lastly, a regulatory alignment makes standards and certifications similar between countries, reducing costs for Indian exporters. Basmati and non-basmati rice will get duty-free entry now into EFTA. Gold is excluded from duty exchanges so far. It
nah,
includes
this is awesome though. It sounds like basically they just want to kind of drop the tariffs for each other on what they're exporting to each other, right? And by dropping those tariffs, it allows both countries to get into markets inside of both countries, right? And be competitive, because now the tariffs aren't there. Now their price, their stuff. Because I can't think of the right word. Their stuff isn't going to be as expensive now that it's not being tariffed. So um, that's an absolutely incredible deal. It sounds like it's going on.
chapters on investment, services, intellectual property, sustainability, and dispute resolution. A new investment facilitation desk will support implementation and business cooperation. In the middle of India finalizing trade agreements with European countries,
Oh,
India and the United States of America are also on the verge now of sealing a wide-ranging trade deal and have reached a major breakthrough. According to recent news headlines, both sides are trying to strike a balance that skips contentious issues around patents and instead focuses on deeper cooperation in areas like energy, services, tariffs, and
okay.
agriculture. This breakthrough comes after months of ups and downs in bilateral trade talks, with negotiations intensifying over the past month between Washington
I
and New Delhi. Now, here's what lies in the crux of the negotiations. The proposed bilateral trade agreement, or the BTA, is expected to lower tariffs, ease non-tariff barriers, and grant greater market access for both countries across sectors like services, agriculture, and industrial goods. Modi and
I
Trump
think if that deal can go through, that would be absolutely amazing, and I feel like that would help do a little bit of repairing our relationship with India at the moment. I feel like that would help a little bit if they can figure out a deal that works for both
have
countries.
set Mission 500 to double the two-way bilateral trade to $500 billion by 2030, a jump from the current nearly $190 billion. Recent meetings led by Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal in Washington from September 22nd to 24th and follow-up virtual sessions have helped both the nations carve out solutions while respecting India's sovereignty and regulatory concerns. Talks have taken place at multiple levels this year, with 5 rounds concluded so far. After a deadlock and multiple tariff escalations, including President Trump's 50% tariffs on Indian imports, both the governments finally doubled down on efforts by trading teams, holding rounds of negotiations in New Delhi and in New York, even as India refused to concede ground on its legal imports of Russian oil. Officials have
Yeah.
described discussions as constructive.
They should stand their ground on that because they not breaking up. They following the rules that were set out by the West. So you're not finna now decide to change your rules, which the West loves to do a lot. You're not finna try to change your rules because now there's a little loophole I done figured out.
Positive and forward-looking, with significant progress seen since mid-September when a US trade delegation visited India. However, there are still some critical areas that are under negotiation, and they include tariff roadblocks, especially those linked to India's oil trade with Russia, easing of restrictions on Indian exports, which have shown resilience despite extra US tariffs, protection of Indian sectors like agriculture and dairy and pharmaceuticals, with both the nations skipping patent-related battlegrounds to fast-track alignment timelines, expanded cooperation in energy and technology alongside mutual job creation and growth. Both President Trump and Prime Minister Modi have played pivotal roles, pushing for a comprehensive pact that improves economic ties and avoids destabilizing retaliatory measures. Their meeting in the White House earlier this year set the ball rolling, and officials indicate that the first stage of the agreement could be sealed as early as November of this year. But will it include lifting of the 25% additional tariffs? That must be a precondition to any trade deal. Indian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ranthir Jaiswal said during a meeting held on the sidelines of the UNGA, quote, "The situation is tough, but we are hopeful we will reach an agreement that resolves all issues, including US concerns on Russian oil purchases and our concerns such as H-1B visas and pharmaceutical tariffs," unquote. He also added, "The focus of the discussion was on trade and tariffs. Other aspects of our bilateral relationship were also reviewed. Like many other countries, we are expecting a bilateral deal with a lower than 25% tariff."
Which is reasonable. Which to me sounds reasonable. I mean that doesn't sound unreasonable at all. But let's continue. We're gonna go ahead and let them finish and then kind of give more thoughts and talk a little bit more at the end.
The EFTA also carries geopolitical weight, with India securing a strong economic bridge to Europe outside of the EU framework. Switzerland and Norway are big players in finance, energy, technology, and they see India as a key long-term partner. Iceland and Liechtenstein bring special strengths in fisheries, clean energy, and niche services. For India, this deal supports its goal under Make in India and Viksit Bharat 2047 mission to become a global export and manufacturing hub. It builds on India's trade talks with the UK and the European Union, helping Indian businesses join global supply chains more deeply. Indian industry groups have welcomed the deal, and the government estimates the deal could double trade with EFTA countries in just the next 10 years. Indian exports like IT, gems and jewelry, and pharmaceuticals will benefit most with near duty-free access. But Indian companies are also preparing for more competition from highly advanced European firms, pushing for more innovation and efficiency right here at home. Piyush Goyal stressed that the prosperity under TEPA would align with India's philosophy of Antyodaya, or integral humanism, which means making sure that the growth reaches the last person at the bottom of the pyramid. But what do you believe? Is the new EFTA trade deal a huge setback for Trump tariffs on India? Leave a comment with your opinion, hit the like button, and subscribe to InConnect News.
So for me, just watching this video, it definitely feels like India is just making moves. Like India is making so many moves. It feels like I watch a video every day where India's made a trade deal with another country. And so seeing these big trade deals definitely flow in. We know right now, hopefully the US and India trade talks go through, they figure it out. But if not, India has found an incredible way to diversify with and imports and export with so many different countries. So they're not just going to bend the knee and do whatever it is the U.S. wants them to do. They do want to come to a deal. I mean, both countries should, but it's going to be a deal that's equals and not a deal that's one country bullying the other, pressuring the other, getting their way. Um, but it honestly is just amazing to see like how the Indian government has been moving and everything they have in store. If you guys enjoy, don't forget to subscribe, give a video a thumbs up, check out the next